Cyberpunk 2077 is out. It's finally here, which, more importantly, means so are the reviews for it. Now, I haven't really played enough of the game myself to feel comfortable judging it, but it does seem pretty cool so far. And the overall consensus seems to be it's either alright, pretty good, or amazing. But one thing everybody agrees on, there are way too many fucking bugs and glitches in this goddamn game. They're all over the map too. Minor ones, big ones, fun ones, game breaking ones. It's all here. I don't really want to talk about the bugs themselves, really. I more so want to talk about the discussion around them. So, if you delve into the world's number one source of correct opinions, that being Reddit, you, very much like myself, will find a group of people bringing up some variation of the same question in regards to the game's review scores. How can a game with so many bugs be a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 5 stars out of 5 stars, 69 out of 69? Now, we are talking about Reddit in particular here, so of course there's some asshats with their Hershey tinfoil hats making up some bullshit about how these reviewers were paid off, yada yada yada. Ignore that side of it for now though, because I do believe this is a completely fair and legitimate question to be asked. It's also one with a pretty simple answer. Those people just weren't as bothered with the technical issues of the game. That's it. That's all there really is to it. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that either. Reviews and impressions are just opinions. And it's up to the owner of the opinion that is being stated as to how much these types of issues affect their enjoyment of a game. To be completely honest, I'm just glad that most of the reviews I'm seeing are even mentioning them. Especially since some publications have taken up the idiotic stance to not bring those kinds of issues up, since they can just be patched up and fixed later on. Not talking about bugs and glitches like this does nothing but hurt fans and suck off the dicks of our corporate overlords. Something I do want to bring up that pisses me off, that in any review I've read or watched, any discussion about reviews or this game in general, I have seen a lack of people talk about the disgusting amount of crunch the developers went through to put this game. Now, granted, yes, I've seen memes about it. I have seen a thread or two, but not really anything pertaining to the review scores of the game. Like, seriously, why aren't more people asking how a game with so much crunch got such high review scores? And the same could be said with The Last of Us Part 2 or Red Dead Redemption 2 as well, because they're just as guilty of it. And that question is just as valid. I'm not even seeing any reviewers mention all the bullshit misconduct that got brought to light at Ooey Shit. Even though, in the following months after that stuff came out, they put out 3 games in the span of roughly 2 months that all reviewed pretty highly, and suddenly nobody cares anymore. Boycotting and pirating these games probably isn't going to do much good either, considering that affects everyone that made the game, including the people that had to crunch and be abused and assaulted for the development of it. So then why is it people will tear devs and publishers apart for bugs, microtransactions, missing content and features, but not crunch, harassment, and assault? Well, I think the answer to that one is rather obvious. Bugs, glitches, corrupted saves, etc. affect a game's player base directly. That stuff affects you and your enjoyment of the game that you paid your hard-earned money for. Greg Jones not being able to witness the birth of his firstborn child so he can really make them dick textures pop doesn't affect players directly, at least in their mind, because honestly, it does. Do you really think a team working 60 to 80 hour weeks filled with members facing unsafe and unethical work practices is really going to be at their creative peak? And everybody's talking about Cyberpunk's bugs, but Valhalla has its fair share as well. That can't be a coincidence. All these issues I just talked about are incredibly complex and have no clear solution. So what would be a good way to handle them? Especially if the average gamer doesn't really care. I think it would be best for all involved if reviews, especially those from the big dogs, mentioned these types of things in their reviews of the game. They don't even have to lower the score necessarily, just bring it up, damn it. Now, I know that's pretty unlikely, but I do have more hope of YouTube reviewers and streamers who don't rely as heavily on ad revenue and getting free game codes can speak up about this shit more readily. Granted, that group is definitely a small slice of the pie. Also, the game industry as a whole is pretty sorely lacking when it comes to unions, so that would probably be another way to help remedy these issues. So anyway, that's my take on all this that literally nobody asked for or cares about. Have a great day, and don't be a dick to each other.